Float tubes and pontoon boats are excellent choices when it comes to watercraft for still waters. But when you get out on the water, you want to make sure you have everything you need for an enjoyable day. Because if you forget something, it can actually end a trip before it starts, or have serious consequences. Today, I'm going to walk through everything I take with me or consider taking with me whenever I head out on the water. Whenever you head out on the water, it's important to be organized, to have everything you need, because if you forget something, it just gnaws away at you and really takes away from your experience. If you don't have a good memory, consider making a checklist. An iPhone is a great place to start, as you can put your checklist in your notes so you never forget anything. So let's quickly walk through what I bring with me every time I head out on the water. Of course, you don't want to forget your watercraft, your float tube, or your pontoon boat. Safety first. Make sure you have your PFD. I have an inflatable vest here. Make sure the cartridge is installed and it's working properly. I've got my K-pump in case I need to inflate my boat. Remember the impacts of going up in elevation or increased air temperature. Of course, I've got my waders, my wading belt, my wading boots. I've got my fins and tethers, safety tethers. If I'm doing any backpacking into a remote lake with my float tube, I've got my straps. If I'm taking a sounder with me, I've got some way of securing the sounder to my float tube or pontoon boat so I can quickly have access to it and use it. If I'm going to drift, I'm going to use lock style techniques. I've got my drogue. If I'm going to anchor, I've got a float tube anchor or something a little more substantial for my pontoon boats. I've got my binoculars. I've got blade rests so I can safely stow and store my oars when they're not in use. I've got a pressure gauge, again, making sure my float tube or pontoon boat is inflated properly. I've got a towel. My hands get wet, particularly on cool days. That evaporation can really impact the mobility of your hands and make you uncomfortable, so keep your hands nice and dry. I've got my swivels and other accessories. Of course, I've got my flies. I've got an umbilical cord that I attach to a D-ring on my pontoon boat or float tube so I can clip it to my rod when it's not in use so it doesn't accidentally fall out of the boat into the water and I lose it. I've got a thermometer, or a depth therm in this case, so I can take water temperature readings. I've got my throat pump. I've got my vial, so if I sample any fish I catch, I can better match the hatch. I've got hemostats. I've got leaders. I've got tippet. I've got my nippers. I've got strike indicators, spare spools. I've got my landing net. You need that, so when you catch a fish, you can safely handle it and let it go. I've got the comfort things, if you will. My sunscreen. I'm fair-skinned. I've always got to make sure I'm well coated with sunscreen. I've got water. I've got aspirins. I've got snacks, all of those kind of things. These are the majority of the items I take with me whenever I'm heading out on the water. It's important to be prepared for every trip. Make sure you bring everything you need to have a successful and enjoyable, safe day on the water. Few things bug you more than forgetting something as it just gnaws away in your brain. Or if you forget something a little more serious, it can have dire consequences. I hope you enjoyed today's Outcast video tip, stimulated some thought for what you want to bring on your next trip. For more information on the products seen in this video or other Outcast products and accessories, please visit us on the web at outcastboats.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I look forward to seeing you on the water with all of your kit.